Always good when it works.
Day two. Welcome,
Let's rock.
everyone.
Let's rock. Yo, we got a sesh for you guys today, like for real. So we're really, really excited about this and super grateful again for your time, especially the week before Christmas. I know you guys all want to close out the year super strong. And that's the entire purpose of why we set this 3-day challenge and 3-day session up for you all. Again, huge shout out and thank you, of course, to Chase Buckner from HighLevel for joining us yesterday. His insight was incredible. I know you're going to ask for the replays. Yes, we were going to give you the replays. Don't stress on that. We got you covered. We know you want to check it out, and that's totally fine. The intention that you should be having, if you are someone that's like a replay person, that should mean that you aren't half listening today's session. It's more like, how can you maximize what you're getting from today as a non-negotiable next step? And then things that you want to make a note of to say, hey, I need to go rewatch that, right? Because watching what we're doing and listening to us isn't going to get you to the next step. Doing the things that we're advising is going to get you to the next step, right? So we have no judgments at all. If you need the replays, that's totally fine. But don't try to like be on the session basically like half listening or trying to multitask. It's really hard to capture the insight that Sharon and myself are going to share today if you're in that position right now. It's just really, really hard because Sharon's going to go through her entire process of how she runs webinars like this very profitably and in a very vulnerable and honest and transparent way of how Extendly has done this very successfully in 2024. And obviously, we plan on doing it ongoing in 2025. And then I'm going to be teaching you about a little bit of prospecting ideas. So, how you generate the opportunities and then how you sell them specifically. So, we have a really jam packed day for you. We're really excited about this. Again, we have 90 minutes scheduled out for it. So, that's the expectation you should have as well. We'll try to keep within that time frame. Oftentimes we go a little bit over just for clarity and transparency's sake. But yeah, we're really excited about it. Sharon, is there anything you want to dive into before we get started today?
No, let's kick it off today. This is going to be a really, really helpful session. And like Alex said, so I'll share with you guys a funny little story. So on these webinars, we usually have like 1,000 people registered, 500 people on the call. And one time before this event, we had a ton of people asking for the replay. And then I went back and watched, like after 2 weeks, how many people actually watched the replay. Out of like 1,000 people, you guys won't imagine, it was only 11 people that
Not even.
actually watched the replay. So that's to go to show to you that you're here on this call for the next 90 minutes. You've already devoted the time. Just be present. Put those extra little distractions away just for 90 minutes because it's probably going to take you more time to carve out another 90 minutes again to watch this replay. So just be here right now. And most of us, and this is no shame to anybody, most of us probably won't go back and watch the whole replay.
And
But
that's okay, right? That's totally
and
fine.
that's
So
okay.
let's remember, guys, we've listened to your feedback previously about wanting us to be very tactical and avoiding some of the mindset stuff that we usually do. Obviously, I'm always about that life. I love doing that, but in general, that's the intention for today's session. Very, very tactical, very specific, and very actionable so that you can take action with it, regardless of whether or not you join the boot camp. As a reminder, at the end of the session, and we'll remind you in the middle as well, we do have a boot camp for this in case you want accelerated support, but we're giving you all the tools and resources you need now. Think of it kind of like an appetizer. Like you're getting the pigs in the blanket from this call. You're like, oh, this is really good. I want the steak. You can join this. You can pay for the steak. You don't have to. Pigs in the blanket are complimentary, right? Obviously for your time. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about how to sell through webinars and through a couple other, models as well. Obviously, housekeeping. We're going to have replays like we stated. All questions, if you can ask them in the Q&A feature, it will make our life way easier. We'll, at the end of the session, do as many question and answers as we can. There's no bad or wrong or dumb questions, especially so when we get into the webinar stuff and the sales positioning. Any question you have, it's probably likely that 10 other people are thinking it. So just feel comfortable to ask the questions. We're not judging any of you, regardless of how beginner level you think the question is. Just ask it. We're here to support you and help you. That's the intent. Again, we will have an opportunity for you to work with us and accelerate this. To accelerate your path to selling AI. We really think this is going to be the most important thing in all of 2025 as we move forward. Okay. Oops, I think I skipped one. So yeah, in terms of educating your audience, I want to give this over to a bit of how she develops our strategies. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, so just to recap a bit of, so
Oh,
yesterday, this
perfect.
is what we covered. We covered the features of AI employee, right? And the three key features, which are reviews, conversation, and voice, which are going to be specific to local businesses. And then Chase also talked about who your ideal target market is. And he said something that should really stick with everyone. He said, it's your community around you. Think about who you go to get your hair done, to get your nails done. Who's your doctor? Who's your veterinarian? That is the initial target market that you want to start with. And then we talked about the perfect offer, how we can combine those three AI features along with a few bonuses from HighLevel's normal tech stack, like the CRM, calendars, to really create this offer. So I have it screenshotted here
Right.
for you guys. And then yesterday, we also sent out one of the five decks so that you guys can use the energy that you came off with yesterday and get into it already. So we went and emailed out to everyone who attended the salon deck, and the rest of the four we're gonna release to you guys on Friday. So
Couple quick
this is,
insights as
yeah,
we're
go ahead.
getting into it, just really quick. Yesterday, in terms of the offer, just want to make sure we're all clear on this. The pricing that we have on the right side, that's recommended, right? You definitely can charge more. You can charge $5,000 total and include 3 months of service as an example. So we'll talk about pricing as well today. The biggest thing that we want to help you frame is, now that you understand what the offer incorporates, we want to show you how to sell that today in the webinar strategy, in the one-to-one strategy, and a few other ideas that we have as well. It's going to be kind of the core elements of today's session. We're going to go through the webinar strategy of how we do this. And we're also going to peel back the curtain of kind of how we sell and operate on these calls, because we've been very successful selling on these calls. And we want to show you how to do that as well, regardless of whether or not you have 20 people or 500 people. It's not a contest of how many people you can get. We want you to be cognizant of that. We want you to be able to sell who you can, right? And then tomorrow will be more technical stuff, like the prompts actually to use for AI for your clients. Again, same link, same time, every single day. Today's agenda is going to be focused on three specific pieces. We're going to be talking about Sharon's kind of coined model of the Activate, Boost, and Convert webinar system. This is the exact model we've been using. I think we did like 20 something webinars this year, and I think probably 90% of them were highly profitable. Some of them for sure we had to learn lessons from, but the benefit is we get to teach you those lessons today, right? We Optimizing and testing doesn't mean you win every single session, right? We're not pretending that we're perfect in any way, but we're going to give you the insights that will help you a ton. We're going to talk about a few lead gen strategies. We're not going to dive into the most insane amount of detail. It will just be like some ideas that you can start working towards, so that you know what to work on to generate opportunities. And then lastly, I'm going to be focusing on how to nail the sale, the one call close model. You might have seen it elsewhere at GHL, some of the other stuff I've shared, but I promise if you follow through and listen to this training today, you'll get a ton of value. You'll be able to make a bunch of money. And that's the whole intent of why you gave us this time, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose. So I just want to know from everyone here, if you don't mind, can you just let us know in the chat with a seven, like if you want to make more money, you want to learn how to master sales for your AI business? I just want to get some clarity that this is the purpose of what you're here for. I'm assuming yes. Awesome. Cool. I've actually, Sharon knows this, right? We never ask this question and someone be like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to make more money.
I
Um,
have enough.
I'm good right now. So in general, that's our intention for today's session. We want you to leave feeling more confident that you know how to make more money and learn how to master sales. And again, whatever your main takeaway is the whole key. We want you to be intentionally focused on how you can get benefits and value from this. That's the entire idea. Sharon, can you tell them a little bit about high level, though, not being the issue? Because I think this is one of the kind of discrepancies and challenges we see a lot of people deal with when they're selling high level, selling SaaS, selling AI. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, you guys are probably familiar with this, and I see this in the high level Facebook group on almost a daily basis. People feel overwhelmed with trying to sell the software because it does so much. It's this all-encompassing, massive software, and a lot of people just don't know where to start in explaining what it does and the benefit. But the problem really isn't with within HighLevel. It's in the sales method that we're using. And by now, if you're on this call, right, you've probably tried out a few different strategies by now. Cold outreach, Facebook ads, building a sales team. But no matter what it is you're doing, you may just not be hitting the nail on the head exactly like you want to. And that's because consumers now, we don't want to be sold to. We've been sold to for so long that we've begun to pick up on it, right? That's why when you're scrolling through Facebook, you can recognize an ad from a mile away and you'll scroll right through it and you won't even realize that you just did that because our minds are so tuned to tuning that stuff out. So what we really want as consumers now is education. And if you can nail that, this process right here, educating and then building trust and building authority, that is the best way to sell. So
And let's
first,
touch on this really
yeah,
quick, by the way.
yeah.
Peeling the curtain back, this is exactly what we are doing right now. That's what Sharon and Alex are literally doing right now. We are educating you. We're developing trust by showcasing our expertise. And then through authority, by sharing transparently the wins we've had and the ways we can help you, this will allow you to end up buying the product that we have. Is every single person on the session going to buy it? Of course not. That's not how sales work. But in general, we're literally practicing what we preach right now. And we want you to do the same. Continue, Sharon.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the best way to do it so that you don't feel yucky, right? You don't feel like that car salesman and you don't feel like you're forcing something down a prospect who's not ready for it. Because chances are, if you do that, and let's say you do end up closing that sale, right? 9 times out of 10, that customer is going to churn out because they just weren't ready. So be honest, be authentic, just try to educate them on why they need this solution. And right now, you have the best opportunity to educate with AI because most people don't know AI, don't understand its capabilities. So there's so much educating you can do there. And naturally, once you begin that, people will begin to trust you. Your authority will develop. And once those two things happen, guess what? Duh, obviously, I want to work with you, Alex. Obviously, I'll buy your product because you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And so that's exactly what we've done. And we've coined the strategy called Activate, Boost, Convert, ABC. And this is how we run our webinar. So today, we're going to guide you guys through this process and specifically how you can use this process to sell the AI offer that we covered yesterday. And I like to call this process semi-automated because all you have to do is create all the content once, the slide deck, the registration page, the emails. And actually in our snapshot, we've done that for you already, but create all of that once, set it up once, and then you can run the same webinar every single week because you'll be reaching a new audience.
Right.
And once we started implementing this, these are the types of results that we saw. So you can see from our screenshots within our Stripe dashboard that the rest of the month is kind of it's flat, right? It goes a little bit up and down, but the day that we run a webinar, it shoots up, and month after month, you'll see that as the trend. Now, the key here that I want to get across is not to say, oh, look how much money we made. No, it's to show you guys that how much you can make in a condensed amount of time. And Alex, you can explain this concept further as well, but you can either spend, um, a day doing 10 sales calls, or you can spend a day talking to multiple people like we are now. Even if
Absolutely.
you get only 15 or 20 people on your webinar, that's
Exactly.
still better than spending that 1 hour talking to one person.
That's right. Keep in mind these results that you're seeing where we're averaging $40,000 to $50,000 per webinar, we usually have 300 to 500 people on the sessions, right? So inherently those are solid metrics for us. If it was 10 times less people, obviously you should assume around a 10 times smaller result. Again, it's not a list measuring contest, who has more, who has less. And it's also not you only have to do webinars. There's both strategies work, one to many and one to one. We want to give you both strategies to be effective, right? That's that's the idea. But keep in mind, the behind the scenes of this explosive growth of the webinar strategy is also like many, many webinars where we fumbled our way through it and had to learn from it. Like that's part of it also. The goal is you will have to do less fumbling by working with us, but just so you have the right expectation, you probably will fumble a little, and that's okay, right? The perseverance is really going to be the big thing. A lot of people, Sharon, are going to say like, oh, I can't do that. I have no list. I have no audience. I have no experience. I have no nothing. Look, I get it. Like Extendly also did not either. No one just magically starts with it. It's not like Bayant started the company and be like, wow, look at this. We have 500 people on a webinar. There's work and time and money that were put into it. Again, whether you're doing it with ads or you're doing it through your local community, even if you have 10 people on a session, it's still valuable, right? Like it's ultimately consistent growth that we're trying to have you achieve. Like it's similar to working out, like when you are able to bench this amount, that's your current metric, and then you try to improve upon it. In the first couple of webinars, I think we were having around 20 or so people. Second webinar, same number, no sales. Third webinar, a few more people. Each one that was ran, we started learning from it. Now, I want to make sure this is understanding that it's not just a pragmatic approach. Part of the process is also emotional, like dealing with the emotional reality of like we put a lot of time into this and we still didn't get more people to show up, or we put a lot of time in this and we didn't get sales, or we put a lot of time in this and we're second guessing ourselves. That's part of it too, right? It's not like in hindsight, we knew for sure it was going to work from the front end. We just had belief that if we kept working on it and having support from multiple people, right? It wasn't just Sharon and Alex or Sharon and Bayant or Sharon and Gilliland. It's a team that when one person's down, the other person can lift them up, which is so important. And if you don't have that team or support, just know like the Facebook group that we have, whether you're a prospect or a client of Extendly, just share in there, be vulnerable in there. Like we'll support you, we'll fight with you, we'll help you. Like that's what it comes down to. But it takes time. You probably won't get it on the first try, but that's totally okay, right? So activate, boost, and convert is really like the main framework. I'm going to let Sharon take over and explain how activating works to get people to your webinar, get them excited to attend. Sharon, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so there are a few different strategies that you can use to activate, right? And I see people in the chat already. You guys are like, hey, I'd be happy if can get 3 people, 10 people on the webinar. And that is much better than doing that one-on-one sales call, right? So you're probably wondering, how do I get the lead? So Alex, you have these few prospecting tips to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I wanted to be able to come to with you today is give you insight basically on how to really win by generating opportunities. So I like using the baseball metaphor. Not sure if anyone's a baseball fan. Anyone a baseball fan in here? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're a baseball fan. Silently judging you because baseball's the worst. That was a trick. See what I did there? Anyways, it's okay. I'm a big football and basketball fan, but I really like this concept of thinking about like sales, kind of like baseball. So I'll give you a quick framework. So similarly, in baseball, the pitcher has a massive advantage over the batter. That's why, like, the greatest hitter in the history of the sport, I think the career batting average highest was 37%, which is crazy low in comparison to what expectations are, like in a grade school system, right? Like 90% an A. No one ever would ever come near that because the pitcher has a massive advantage over the batter. That's the same concept in selling. Like, the person you are selling to has a massive advantage over you, no matter how great your offer is, no matter how amazing your selling skills are. At the end of the day, they are the one that has to make that decision, right? And I'll show you how to do that. But in general, if you want to become a better hitter, you need to get more pitches. So if you want to become a home run hitter and you only have 5 pitches, well, obviously you're not going to be as good as a home run hitter as someone that had 500 pitches. So the intent and goal is, how do you generate more pitches? If we focus on today's session just on here's how to sell, but you don't have any prerequisite people to sell to, we're not doing you a quality service, right? So obviously webinars are one of them, but what about for those of you that don't run webinars or that need more insight on how to get one-to-one opportunities? And this is the framework. So let's start with the first piece, okay? Ads are always going to be number one, all right? I don't know an actual number here because I don't have the actual data transparently, but based off my experience, which I've been running my marketing agency since 2010, and I've been coaching in the space and prospecting on demand since 2016. I know the industry really well. I would say less than 10% of marketing agencies and SaaS companies run ads to generate opportunities. Ads to generate opportunities, Nate. So meaning you are running ads to local businesses, to a spa, to a dentist, to a doctor, to an attorney, to whomever, to say, I have this offer for you, right? This is a lead generation mechanism, right? Most people don't do it because they either don't have the money for it, they're afraid to make the investment, et cetera, right? So here's the thing. If you want to have effective scalability long term, you must run ads. But if you're in the startup phase of your business and you don't have the money for it or the assets for it or don't know that yet, right? Then you need to also do the harder work of one-to-one outreach and making sure that you are creating opportunities from that. And here's just a few ideas that we put together that I think would be very beneficial. Okay. I brought this up to you yesterday, so I wanted to bring it up one more time today. I really believe events are going to be the most effective strategy for the majority of you. Seeing people face to face and stepping away from your computer, shaking someone's hand, looking at them in the eye is way better prospecting than sending 100 LinkedIn messages, 2,000 emails, or cold calling businesses. The reality is most people won't do the things I just said anyways. And when you do them, you're going to get disheartened because it's like a 5% shot of working. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. You should. It's just anyone that expects cold email to be a 50% reply rate and 25% of those people become clients, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, right? But when you're seeing someone face to face and you have something extraordinarily valuable like this AI solution, it just makes it easier. So I strongly recommend look in your area, what events in business are happening in your area, go attend those events. If you can sponsor them, I would, but maybe wait on that because if you can sponsor it, I'd probably be running ads if you can afford that. So that's one. Number two, we spoke about current clients obviously yesterday. Current clients is going to be the people that are already paying you are the ones that are most effective for upselling to AI, obviously, right? The religious community, probably one of the most underrated aspects of this. I'm a very vulnerable and transparent person. I grew up in a Jewish community. Pretty much my first 15 clients came directly from my temple and from my unique kind of neighborhood. And here we are, whatever, 2024, the 10 to 14 years later, I still have like 7, 8 of them as clients still paying, right? I think this is a very underutilized thing because people are not audacious enough to kind of mix and mingle the personal and professional. But if you really think you have a product that's valuable, it's your duty to tell them that, right? The other piece, Main Street and downtown. Chase was talking about this yesterday, right? Chase was saying, hey, I want you to go downtown, knock on the door, offer AI, show it to them. Remember, don't just immediately default, please, to free. Get them to pay for it because they all want it. Because if they don't take it, the person next to them is going to take it. Online communities, obviously, we're going to touch on this in just a minute, but this is, of course, an effective strategy. It's just very saturated, but in general, it does work. Your personal network. So outside of religious community, who do your friends know? Who do your parents know? Who do your friends of your friends know? Ask, ask, ask. The audacious ask is the key. One simple little technique that will be really helpful is do the work for them. So when you ask for a referral or when you ask for a recommendation, just tell them, hey, I already put the text together. Just send this out to someone. Like, hey, do you need help with this? Or, hey, I have this friend who does this thing. I think you should connect with him. Just do the work for them. It makes it a lot easier. And then the last one is the interview offer and podcast angle. Really effective strategy to be different in your cold outreach. The strategy is pretty simple. Basically, everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM. Does anyone know what that stands for? WIIFM. Anyone have an idea? I wonder if anyone knows.
Feel like
It's in it
it's
for me.
not what
Nice. Look at that. So many people knew that. How did they know that? Have you heard this before? That's so great. I love that. Look how many people knew. That's amazing. So the concept of what's in it for me is if you reach out to someone and say, "Hey, I'm running a series about doctors, in the Tennessee area, talking about, 10 minutes about their story to inspire young entrepreneurs. I'd love to have you on. Let me know if you're open to it." You're going to get so much more response and interest. You get on there, you do a 10-minute show with them, you post it on YouTube, they get free SEO. At the end, you say, "Hey, by the way, I also do this. Are you open to a conversation about it?" Really simple stuff, really effective. It's really good. So I just strongly recommend giving this a shot. Now, here's my request before we continue with anything. All right. I want every person, we have 500 people on the session right now. Huge kudos to all of you for being here. What one are you guaranteeing right now you are committing to doing by the second week of January? I'm going to give you a pass, which is very rare, Sharon. I don't do this often. I get it. Christmas next week. Fine. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you a pass. Great. By second week of January, what is one thing on this list you definitely will do? Period. Definitely. These are all models to make money, period. But you got to do it. If you come here and you listen to me spiel on this slide for 10 minutes and do nothing with it, then excuse my French, but what was the point? What was the point of us putting in the work on this? What was the point of it? We want you to win. These are methods that will help you win. My strongest recommendation is not doing all of them because you won't do all of them. Commit to doing at least one of them, please. Okay? please. I love all the answers here. It's great. Good for you guys. Fantastic. Beautiful. Any questions you guys have about this, please, please, please just drop it in the Q&A and we'll answer. There's a ton of questions I saw, but there's so many comments. You got to drop in the Q&A. We're not going to be able to see them, okay? All right. Next up is just how we start with organic, right? Obviously, organic is going to be the most common first strategy for everyone, and that's totally okay. Really, what it comes down to is just authenticity and building trust. So we're going to talk about this more as we go through this, okay? Look, when you post, you want to be real, you want to be authentic, you want to be raw, you want to be honest and relatable. If you guys like haven't seen any of my posts, totally shilling for myself here for a second, so I apologize. But I think there's a lot of value in this. I am going to drop my YouTube. Give me grace. But if you check this out, if you look at any of the videos that I do, the short ones particularly, that's kind of like my main spiel, like vulnerability and authenticity. Like that's the whole concept because it will engage people in a way that differentiates you from the person that's trying to be like highlight reel on social media, right? You don't want to come off as you're trying to pitch or be too salesy on your organic posts, but the only way you'll know that is obviously by trying and posting. Just be as authentic as you can be. And for any of you that have an identity of like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough or whatever. It's like, if I can just say to you, like, borrow our belief that you're capable of this. Because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not capable of it, it's impossible to succeed business wise. Like, no one will lift you up. You're not going to just get a prospect, be like, wow, you're amazing. I never met you in my whole life, and I want to pay you all my monies that I've ever made. You have to believe in yourself, even if it's like a facade for yourself. But stop creating an identity that you're not good enough, right? Be key, be relatable, be real, and we're going to show you exactly how to do this, okay? Show you
By
exactly
the
how.
way, on that note, Alex, the authenticity and building trust doesn't just go for when you're posting online, but that goes for even when you're in events, right? If you're talking to somebody face to face, just be yourself, be real. Like we said at the beginning, educate, trust, authority.
Sharon, someone called me Shilling Shlinsky. That's too good. It's an amazing nickname. It's fair. It's honestly fair. Comment stacking posts. Let's talk about one of these strategies that's really effective in the industry. So basically, you ask users if they want some sort of variable thing and then comment below that you can give them that thing. This is a very common like strategy with lead magnets or with webinars, et cetera. And we gave you a few lead magnets in the offer itself if you join us for the boot camp where you can leverage this. Now, keep in mind, it's really important. A lot of these groups know these types of strategies and they will ban you if you do it incorrectly. So just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, the risk is pretty minimal, but just keep that concept in mind, right? Like you can't go into the high level group and do this. Otherwise, I would be doing it every single day. But I don't want to get banned from the high level group, right? So you can see a couple examples here. Bayant we're hosting a free workshop to help you launch high level, comment and launch if you want to join. You had 61 people join, which was great. Same thing Sharon did. If we held a training, and we did it to how you show you how to set up GHL, would you come? 134 comments. And then another example would be this one. This one strategy has earned us over 500,000 in sales. We're ready to share it with you. Comment below if you want it. This is a classic strategy. It works. Again, it's not a race. Like if you get 10 people on it, you get 4 people on it, great, right? It's just a strategy to give it a shot and make this work and give it a try, okay? Now, here's an example with Brian doing it, my business partner for prospecting on demand. You'll see like the first thing is always be engaging and helpful. Like offering some sort of resource or support is going to make it easier for them to purchase the sale. Imagine if we came on this webinar and we're like, hey guys, we have no value to share with you at all. We're not going to give you anything. Pay us $5,000 right now, and then we'll give it all to you. What do we think would happen from that? You think we'd make any sales? Hell no. You guys would leave right away. You'd be like, wow, why did I waste my time on this? Screw you. Bye. But
Exactly what Spring Papa said, spam. That's
yeah.
what everyone would think. Oh, this company is just a waste.
So our intention, right, which is very clear and authentic to you, is going to be, hey, we're going to share value with you, to build trust with you, to showcase authenticity with you, to make you realize that we have authority and understanding of what it takes to win. And then if you want to work with us, it's going to be a lot more likely that you're going to pay us because we can help you, right? That's the obvious reality of this, okay? That's the concept. That's why this model works so incredibly well. So definitely try it out. But again, keep in mind, if you do this and you don't read the rules of a group, you could get banned. So just make sure you're clear on that, okay? So this is Brian doing it in a group, showcasing that he genuinely wants to provide value to the members, win-win to both sides. You can find a large Facebook group and focus on that. You can also always reach out to like the admins of the group and ask them if they'd want to do some sort of JV, not a payment thing, but just a way for you to provide value strictly, okay? Anything where you're platformed is key, okay? That's the idea, all right? Let's continue. Guys, are you finding this valuable, by the way? Is this like worth your time? Can you drop sevens in the chat? Make sure it's a good thing. I just want to know if we're doing good for you guys. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. All right. Next up is going to be your email and SMS list. I'm going to let Sharon take this away. She's really honestly the master of this, and it's why you guys get all the emails and then show up. Consider 2 days in a row, all cards on the table, and then I'll let Sharon speak on this. 2 days in a row, we've had 500 human beings, 500 show up on a webinar. How does that happen? That's Sharon's insight. That's what she does. This is how she can help you. Again, you don't need it to be 500 people. If it was 50 people, it'd be great. If it was 10 people, it'd be great. But Sharon made this happen. She's going to share how.
Yeah, and it's really important to understand what Alex keeps harping on, that it took us a lot of time. We ran webinars time and time again before we were able to hit this result, right? So give yourself grace. Start with the 10, start with the 20. Even on the comment stacking, I was helping out a client maybe 2 weeks ago, and he was like, no one's really biting on and commenting on my post. And he showed me what he was posting. And I suggested to him, I was like, you're a landscaper, then show people the landscaping system that you built for yourself within HighLevel and ask if people want to see that. As soon as he did that, he got 50 comments. So it's going to be trial and error and figuring out what your audience resonates with, right? But always lead with education. So with that, your email list is your greatest asset. 100%. If there's one thing that you do focus on, make sure that you focus on creating a really solid email list, because once you generate those leads, you can reactivate them at any time, right? Just like we do for these webinars. For this specific webinar, we didn't run ads to get registrants. Sometimes we do, but for this one, we didn't. We just activated our email list. And over time, our email list grows and grows and grows, but this should go to show how important your email list is. So you guys might be wondering, okay, when should I start? What is a good time frame to start promoting my webinar? After trial and error, I figured out it's about 1.5 weeks before. So a week and a half is the perfect sweet spot to start promoting it. Anything more than that, I've tried 2 weeks before. I do get more registrants, of course, because the more time that you give people to sign up, you're going to have more registrants. But the show up rate is about the same, because the people who registered earlier, they've forgotten about it and they've already moved on, right? They needed it as a solution then, but now after so much time has passed, they could care less about it. So, and anything less than the 1.5 weeks, you're not giving yourself enough time to promote. So 10 emails, 10 days, 10 emails. Send one email every single day within that period to get people to show up. I do skip Saturday and Sunday, or you can choose to email on either Saturday or Sunday, one, but not both of the days, just to be courteous. And then within that as well, send 2 text messages. You don't want to overdo it on the text message. Text message is extremely powerful. Because it's so personal, it goes right to somebody's phone, but people will also get annoyed really, really fast. So don't annoy them. Don't send, 10 text messages. 2 is going to be more than enough. And for this webinar, that's what we did as well. We sent 2 text messages and that was all. And those text messages are short, simple. They're basically a summary of whatever you said in the email. One strategy that is super, super, super powerful, and you want to make sure that you always do on every single webinar, is give people a reason to show up. other than the content that you're providing, which is going to be extremely valuable and extremely educational, give people a little bit extra of a reason on why they should show up. So with this webinar, we promised you guys all that you're going to get a pitch deck that goes along with the theme of what we're educating. It's helpful. I know it's what our audience needs and our audience wants. So make sure that that free gift isn't just something that you like slapped together. It should be valuable enough, or people are gonna be offended by it, right? They truly will be. They feel like they spent their time. They were looking forward to this exciting thing that you promised them, and if it doesn't live up to that expectation, they're not going to attend another webinar, and they're probably definitely not going to buy your product. This free gift is kind of like a trailer of what your product is like.
This is how you get people to show up at the end of the day, right? Like offering
Mhm.
something for free, because in exchange for their time, it's the most valuable asset we all have. Like when you're asking for someone time, all 500 of you on the session right now are here instead of somewhere else. We need to make sure that we provide you value. But for you to show up and give us the time, there needs to be some sort of value proposition for that. And there's two. It's not just the value we're promising on the session, because that might not be enough to move you to do it, but also a promise that if you just show up, we're going to give you something additional to that. Those two-pronged approach makes a big, big difference.
Yep, absolutely. And really think about what it is, what that free gift is that you offer. So here's one example. We usually sell our academy for HighLevel for $5,000. In the past, we have offered that for free. So people are getting $5,000 of value for free. That just, I want to highlight that to make sure that whatever gift that you're giving, and I already said this twice now, so I know I'm being redundant, but whatever gift that you are giving, make sure it is extremely valuable, so valuable that people would want to pay for it. So SMS Hack. This is a little hack that I found out with all of the tweaking and testing that we've done throughout our Activate, Boost, and Convert webinar sequence. So this is one of the learnings. In those 10 days of emails that I send out, I include the webinar registration link underneath a trigger link. So we use trigger links in a very specific way.
Hello.
So whoever has clicked on that trigger link from those emails, I know that person was interested enough to read the email, open it, click on the link, want to register, but for whatever reason, they didn't finish registering, right? So that person is a highly interested prospect. I don't want to miss out on them not registering. So what I do is I put those people into a separate workflow, whoever's clicked on the email, wait 20 minutes to see if they do register or they do not register. Anybody who has not registered, now you can follow up with them with an SMS. So we do use SMS, but use SMS in a very particular way, right? 2 SMSs to the entire list, and then specific SMSs to those people who show that they are interested. That way people won't feel like you're bombarding or spamming them. So this is one of the hacks that we have.
Real
And then
quick before we
urgency
continue,
emails.
Sharon, there's a
Mhm.
bunch of questions. The same question kept getting asked, so I want to make sure. Of course, Extendly uses HighLevel or Lead Connector for every single email. And we're going to share this in a second, but all of the emails that Sharon put together, it's included in the Bootcamp offer. It's included in the webinar snapshot. So obviously you can take screenshots of this, but if you want to implement it into your workflow pretty easily, that's the entire concept. So of course, Extendly uses HighLevel for every single element of this. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, we have. And one question I see that somebody's saying trigger links can really hurt deliverability, for sure. I uh, I don't think that's true. I haven't noticed that. So we work with Kristen Rushman. She's like the email whisperer. She has way more knowledge on that. I've asked her this question as well, and she's told me that they don't. There's probably something else that you're doing that's hurting that deliverability, but I'm not the email whisperer or the email deliverability expert, so I would consult Kristen for that one. Okay, so the urgency emails. Start sending these urgency emails are in the last 72 hours. Most people do register within that last 72 hours of you promoting your event because everyone has FOMO. Everyone feels like they're going to miss out. And that's inherent. That's an inherent feeling that we all have as human beings. So use it to your advantage. These are some examples that we have on the screen of the types of urgency emails that you can send. And of course, these are templated and included in our bootcamp snapshot that we have for you guys as well. Everything that I just went over is a part of our AI webinar system. So this entire framework is pre-built, and not only pre-built, but specific to the AI employee offer that we shared with you guys yesterday. So you'll get the email and SMS templates, all of the workflows as well, our activate, boost, and convert sequence. This is a little preview of what it looks like within HighLevel. Um, so this is our commitment to you again, right? We covered this yesterday. We will help you launch your AI agency in 12 days. We'll give you everything that you need to succeed, just like what we went over. But you do have to make a commitment to yourself that once you get all these tools, that you'll actually come to the trainings. You'll learn how to apply them. You'll learn how to present on a webinar and actually execute, even if you're scared. I suck at public speaking. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's taken
Not true. Anyways, keep going.
my heart, like I remember when I was in college, my heart used to literally race whenever I had to go up in front of the room and talk. And even now, sometimes I do get very nervous, but it takes practice, it takes time. So your
Right.
commitment to yourself is that you're willing to put in that hard work, and otherwise, you have these resources available for you. So our AI webinar system that we have within our Ultimate AI Agency in a Box has an AI webinar pre-done, the offer pre-done. It even includes a webinar that Alex has recorded that you can use as an example to train yourself on.
That's right.
Uh,
And I want to just touch on something, go back really quick, Sharon. I think it's important. So, a couple quick things. Several people have asked, what's the boot camp? That's just the offer from yesterday. So, if you didn't show up to the offer yesterday, at the end of the webinar, we went through kind of all the frameworks of the things that you see on this slide. As we promised, we'll give you insight and then also give you an offer. Today, the second day, you'll see kind of a different strategy, again, transparently, so you can see in the midst of the training, right? So we still have roughly 30 minutes of training after this. We're reminding you of the offer, right? And then I'm going to use social proof as an example. Kyle Weber literally 5 minutes ago just said, I joined the boot camp, and the snapshot and say all the mechanisms for how you sell. I'm literally showing you how we're selling it right now. And then I'm going to teach it to you in just a minute as well. Like, we're going to practice every single element that we preach as well, so you get that clarity. And then yesterday we had 32 out of 100 spots left. Again, the reason why is this was a Black Friday offer, so that's why some of the spots were taken. We have 16 spots remaining. So if you want to join us, you can at getextendly.com/AI. We'll talk about this more at the end of the session again. We just wanted to remind you of it, so you have that insight and getting the support that you are looking for. Okay. Now, Sharon, did you want to talk about the boost strategy?
Yeah. So the next part is number one, most important thing is getting registrants, right? But the work doesn't stop there. You actually have to get people to show up. On average, on a webinar, industry average is about 20 to 30% people who register will show up. And for me, that was like, why? Why is it only 20 to 30%? We're putting in so much effort to getting these registrants. There's got to be something there that we can do to boost that show up rate. So I went back and forth a lot after every single webinar and was like, what are the little tweaks that we can do to keep bumping up that show up rate? So this is what we found. The confirmation email that you send after the registration. You have to keep in mind that just because somebody registered doesn't mean they're going to show up. So you're not done convincing them. You're not done selling to them, basically, the reason why they should show up. So this confirmation email after they register is extremely important. This is where you need to give them more information of exactly what they're going to be learning. So this is an example of how we do that. We covered day one. This is the topic, and then a sentence on what you're going to learn. And you'll see here, it literally says, you'll walk away with. That's super important. You need to very literally tell them what knowledge they're going to walk away with, or what strategy they're going to walk away with, so that they can visualize how it is actually helpful for them. So make sure that this registration, or sorry, this confirmation email after they register isn't just, thanks for registering, here's the date and time and the link. No, you need to do a little bit more than that. You need to keep selling to them or keep convincing them why they need to actually show up. And then from there, our reminder sequence starts. So 2 days before, 1 day before, 4 hours before, and 1 hour before, you want to make sure that you send an email and a text message with the value again. Why do they need to show up? And you guys will notice, go back and read the emails and text messages that you got leading up to this webinar. You'll see the strategy in play in those exact emails that got you to show up today. Every single message wasn't just, hey, reminder, come. It was reminder, come, and this is what you're going to learn, right? So go back and read and study those, and you'll see it in play. Next, as well, the last minute SMS reminders. So this is extremely important. I send out a 10-minute before reminder and a 5-minute before reminder. So the 10-minute is basically saying, hey, we're getting started in 10 minutes. In that message, I don't do a lot of like why you need to come. That one is basically cut and dry. We're getting started in 10 minutes. Here's the link. And then the 5-minute one is really interesting. That one says, hey, we just got started. I want to make sure you're in the room. If you're not, here's the link again. And it's always funny to see right as that 5-minute timer goes out. I see people hopping in. The first like 10 minutes is just, people trickling. And as soon as that message goes out, I see like 100 people joining in.
That's right. One quick insight, a lot of people are asking, like, what's a reasonable KPI? 50% show up rate is reasonable. It's not what we want it to be. Don't get us wrong. We want it to be 100%, obviously, but 50% is pretty reasonable and expected. Obviously, if you have 20 people registered, it's a lot different than 1,000. If you have 20, you can overdo it. You can call them, text them, make sure that they show up. But in a general sense, 50% is pretty reasonable.
Yep. And then confirmation links to reaffirm attendance. You can do this in 2 ways. Basically, you want the person to say to themselves and commit to you that they are going to show up. So this can be through, hey, the webinar is starting tomorrow. Text us back yes if you'll be coming. Right? You may have seen that your doctor makes you do that sometime. Text us back to confirm your appointment. That's like a mental and psychological cue that I committed to doing something. I committed and told these people that I'm going to be here tomorrow, so I will be here tomorrow. So this is a great strategy to put in place as well. You can do that through SMS by getting them to text you back that they're going to come, or you can do it through email by including a button like this that says, yes, click here to confirm your seat for tomorrow. And alongside, so everything that you do is an all-encompassing strategy, right? It's not just your social media, your email or your SMS. It's your email and your SMS plus your socials. Every platform that you have, whenever you're running a webinar, scream on top of the roof about it. Post it everywhere you possibly can. So yesterday, and whenever we start a webinar, the days leading up to it, we post about this is happening. And then as the webinar is in progress, as you can see in this screenshot on the bottom right hand, we screenshot and we say, hey, we just got started. Hop into the Zoom room if you aren't here already, right? That's a great strategy as well. And doing all of that in combination is what has increased our show up rate to about 40 to 50% from the average of like 20 to 30% that the industry gets. So Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you to show us, once you get all these attendees, how do you get them to buy?
So we just went through, guys, the reminder of the offer. We then explained how you get people to show up for your webinar, and we talked a little bit about prospecting strategies. Now the next portion of the session is all about selling, right? Look, the reality is I could sit here for 4 hours and still have more things to share with you on selling. So what I've put together is ideally a very simple framework and model where you can take away this insight and then come learn more from me later. But at the very least, you can get the insight right now. So I know we've already been here for 50 minutes. Do you guys have more energy and capability to get more insight? Do you want to learn about sales? If you do, can you drop a one in the chat? I want to make sure. I really want to ensure this is a big, big important factor. Brandy, that DM that you sent me, can you drop that in the Q&A shot? I'm not going to be able to see it because of all the messages that came through, but we will help with the pricing. Sweet. Awesome. I'm really excited about this. This is my favorite thing to do. I love coaching sales, something I'm super passionate about. And I'm really excited to teach this to you. So my whole thing is the one call close. That's like what I coined. I don't think it's like mine necessarily, but in general, that's like kind of the thing that I'm all about. And it's really just understanding decision-making psychology. And that's what I want to touch on today. In order for you to understand kind of where this falls into the landscape of your company, in order to simplify everything, it will make your life a lot easier if you frame your kind of obstacles, challenges, and opportunities in this four kind of steps, right? Your offer, which we already went through yesterday, the AI process, et cetera, selling SaaS. Prospecting, which again, we shared a few ideas today, like events and ads and this, et cetera. Sales, which we're about to cover, and then fulfillment, which really is going to be mostly focused on tomorrow, and then also in the boot camp where we're going to show you how to actually deliver for your clients. Remember, Extendly is a client success company first. That is their responsibility. They want you to win when you purchase. It's not you purchase and then, okay, we'll go get more purchasers. You purchase and then we help you win. That's the idea, okay? So who am I? This is kind of hilarious, by the way, Sharon, now in retrospect to put this 50 minutes into the second day of the session, but that's okay. We did it. It is what it is. So I'm a sales coach. I also wrote a book called The Anti-Hustler's Handbook. You can find it on Amazon if you want. I also had heart surgery, 0 out of 5 stars. Don't recommend it, but I'm alive, so that's great. I'm very happy about it. I run Prospecting on Demand, a mastermind for agency owners and SaaS businesses. I've run a PI attorney agency for the last decade plus. I didn't even know about it for the first 4 years. If you want to talk to me about that, I'm happy to. I've sold well over $20 million worth of products online, mostly digital, pretty much nothing physical. But in general, that's been big kind of KPI. I did used to work for the UFC and the NFL, which was a good time, made zero money. Like I said, I wrote this book, The Anti-Hustler's Handbook, and I've done like hundreds of live sales trainings. If you look me up, you'll see some of the ones I did at Harvard or Columbia or on HighLevel or with Extendly or Digital Marketer, a million different places. And basically what I compiled today is just some of the main things that I believe if you implement them, you'll be able to make more money and ultimately, provide better for your family and for your clients. Okay. So we spoke about this yesterday, like what is all encompassing of the AI employee? These are kind of like the 6 elements, but the big concern that I would have is when you look at this and then you look at the next slide related to this bundle, this is like super overwhelming. You cannot show this to a prospect and expect that they'll be like, I'm ready to buy. Overwhelmed prospects don't buy. That's not how the process works. So I want you to think of it this way, okay? I want you to write in the chat, if your toilet breaks, what do you want the plumber to do? Can you share that with me in the chat, please? What do you want the plumber to do? What do you want the plumber to do? Okay, everyone's saying the same thing. Cool. Do you care if he uses his hand, a vacuum, delegates it, or do you just want the toilet done, right? It's the same concept when you're selling HighLevel and selling SaaS. A lot of people, especially us, because we're nerding out on it, you think that they care about all of these features. The truth is, they don't care about any of these features. The only thing that they care about is the result of the feature, right? That's it. That's the only thing that matters. And the more focus you are on about the features, you're like, well, Sharon, are you sure you don't want to know about the Vacuum 9500 as the reverse osmosis engine that will make sure that your, amazing toilet is like, just fix the fucking toilet, dude. Just fix the toilet. Again, this is the whole concept. Chad said it himself. It goes back to what's in it for me. You don't want to overwhelm them. They're not going to be able to decide. So let's just touch on a few elements of results of the offer. And if you think I missed anything, please share it, right? I'm not suggesting this is absolutely comprehensive. I just think these are some of the simpler ways you can explain it, okay? Some of the results of your AA offer are maximizing all current opportunities. Again, you want to think about the leaky bucket. This is one of the most important factors I'm going to talk about in a second, all right? Secondly, This is a 24/7 sales agent that you don't have to pay commissions to, that you don't have to give vacation to, they don't have to have sick days for, and you don't have to feel bad about it if they're going to have a kid or they need parental leave because they're 24/7 and they're a robot. That's the idea. That's the idea. You're also allowing them to have cutting edge marketing technology so they stay ahead of the curve. They can dominate the local competition. And then, of course, in the simplest way, they can get more clients, more money, and more predictability. Does everyone agree with these results? Like, are these results that you agree with? Yes, no? Is there something I'm missing? Spring said robots are here to help us. I hope. I'm nervous about that, to be honest, but that's not for today's call. Okay, cool. So this is how I'd be framing and selling this, not like this. You're not going to sell like this. You're going to overwhelm them and they're not going to decide. They're going to say, I need to think about it. Let me talk to my partner about it because they're going to have zero confidence that they know what's going to happen. Okay. So let's talk about just in general, the high level offer hack. This is of course very relevant, specific to AI, but in general, it's anything you sell relevant to high level. Okay. Maximizing current opportunities is how you can frame the result of fixing the toilet metaphor for high level. Okay. So if you go to a business and say, hey, do you think you're maximizing all the current opportunities you have? Like from social media, from SEO, from advertising, from leads, from referrals, from reviews, from birthday campaigns, from past clients, from calls that you get. The answer, of course, of course, of course, is no. Just like the answer for do you want to make more money is of course, of course, of course, yes, right? So in general, SaaS is fixing the leaky bucket. This is how you can explain in a metaphor something that's really easy for someone to understand. Hey, right now, it's not necessarily that you don't have enough water, it's that the water you have coming in is falling out the bottom of the hole in the bucket. That's what my SaaS product does, right? Missed call text back, AI voice, etc. That's the concept. That's the idea, okay? Now, the new opportunities is what other people sell, which is lead generation. Now, I absolutely recommend to my clients to sell lead gen solutions. Absolutely. But in a general sense, right? If you're just selling AI or just selling SaaS, you have a huge advantage because your cost and price is going to be significantly less expensive than someone else that's offering lead gen. And it's also a pragmatic, simple way to explain to someone, hey, Sharon, I'm here to help you maximize your current opportunities before ever talking to you about creating new ones. Because if you increase the water flow on a leaky bucket, what does that mean inherently? More water is going to fall out the bottom. So if you pragmatically explain to someone that a prerequisite before turning the faucet on for more new opportunities is shoring up the holes, inherently they're going to feel more confident and understanding of working with you. This is how you can frame properly how to sell this product. I'm hoping that this is becoming an aha moment for you guys to understand how to properly express this, because this is the thing I see most people struggle on. I audit people's calls and I see that they're over explaining all the features. Hopefully, you're just understanding I need to sell this like they would buy from a plumber. That's the idea. They just want the toilet fixed. They just want more patients. They just want more money. They just want more opportunities, but they really want more of the opportunities that are actually helping them maximize what they have. Juan asked me to show the features again. I think you mean this for clarity. Um, cool. I'm going to come back to this obviously and give you more insight on it, but I wanted to make sure that was clear. Okay. So we also want you to sell against new opportunities. I already kind of framed that for you so you have clarity. So now you'd be like, what about one to many selling? How do I run a webinar? This slide was supposed to be earlier. We already explained it. So we're good there. So forget about that one. Excuse me. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you want a Snickers? Drop it in the chat if you want a Snickers. Just for funsies, what's everyone's favorite candy? Just wondering. Shannon, I don't even, Sharon, did I just call you Shannon in front of 500
So
people?
yesterday
Oh
you
my God.
called me Karen. And
Karen,
to
Shannon, Sharon.
argue, I would argue that
I'm
I'm
dying
wrong.
right now, Sharon. This is terrible. I'm the worst. I love you.
I
Um,
love Ferrero Rocher.
nice. You're classy. Love that. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, okay? You really threw me off. There was no way I thought you would say Ferrero Rocher. So how many options did I give you? If I say, do you want a Snickers? How many options did I give you? How many options? Throw it in the chat. Someone wrote two. Why two? Who said two? What is two to you? Someone explain what two is, please. Yes or no? Okay, cool. Brian, you're really close. You're getting it. Brandon, you're really close. It's actually three. Jamie, you get it. It's three. You could say yes. You could say no. You could say maybe. The most common response in sales. Do you know the most common response in sales? What's the most common response, y'all? The most common response is maybe. It's maybe. It's definitely not no. If you look back at your last 30 calls, I guarantee you have less than 3 no's. Most people don't even say no. They'll just do this. Hey, Sharon, yeah, I like it. Can you send me a proposal? Then they'll get off the call and be like, oh, thank God I don't have to ever talk to that person again. They don't have the audacity to just say no. So they don't. They just say maybe. I need to think about it. Let me talk to my partner. Can you send me can you send me a referral? Can you give me a guarantee? Can I wait until the new year? All this kind of stuff. I have to think about it, right? Let me give you another example. What if I said, "How do you want Snickers or a Twix?" Or sorry, a Kit Kat. Snickers or a Kit Kat? How many options did I give you? How many options? Okay, so Jeff said six. This is what I was looking for. I'm looking for six. So some people argue with me that it's seven. I'll explain the seven so you have an understanding, okay? You have yes, no, and maybe to Snickers. You have yes, no, and maybe to Kit Kat. And then you also would potentially have both. Now, the reason I'm not really incorporating both into my concept here is just because like it's not usually a model in which it's kind of an either or. It's not really like both. But anyways, that's the point. So here's the thing. Compare and contrast is where decisions go to die. This decision is significantly easier than this decision. This decision in a vacuum is I need to decide upon this single entity and decide yes or no or maybe. And you as a salesperson can focus on all the values of this specific thing that you are promising. If you offer an option, a couple things are happening. Number one, you are seeding your expertise, meaning you're not diagnosing them like a doctor and using expertise to say, based on everything you told me, I know you're going to love the Kit Kat. Let's go with the Kit Kat, meaning you're going to lose trust and lose authority. On top of that, they're now in a position coming into the call uncertain of the thing they want to buy, only knowing that they want more or more money or more opportunity, or they're not doing things correctly. And now you're coming and saying, well, here's option one, here's option two. What's the obvious response from a prospect? The obvious response from a prospect is, Sharon, how the fuck am I supposed to know? I don't know. You're supposed to tell me. Aren't you supposed to tell me? How am I supposed to know? Now they're like, well, let me compare and contrast. And I see this on a million SaaS company websites. Well, here's our grow model and here's our pro model. And the grow model has these things and the pro model has all the things in the and you're expecting the prospect to be like, I'm very confident in buying the grow model. What are we doing? What are we talking about? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're going to have a really hard time with this. Okay. I'm going to give you a quick insight that I think will be very, very valuable to hear this. I'm going to be very vulnerable for a second. I just really want you to hear this. Okay. I had open heart surgery 4 years ago on October 15th, 2020. My wife was 5 months pregnant. I found out in December of 2019 that I would have to have this surgery, and it happened in October because of COVID, which sucked. The 10 months were terrible. I went to the first doctor. He said I had to have the surgery. Of course, I got a second opinion. What did the second opinion say? The second opinion said, you don't need to have the surgery now. So now I, non-medical expert, are put into a position of saying, do you want the surgery or do you not want the surgery? Impossible. It's an impossible position to be put into. So then I go to another doctor, a third appointment, okay? And I tell him the conundrum I'm in, and then I say, I need you to tell me what to do if I was your son. I need that from you. And he told me, Alex, if you were my son, I would tell you to have this surgery right now because you don't want to have this surgery after your son is born, and you're going to have a much better likelihood of living a longer life if you do this today. What do you think I did? Obviously, I worked with him because he's the expert and he was confident in his solution. That's the biggest key in selling. Confidence in your solution. You can't provide multiple options because if you keep hearing these objections, I need to think about it. I need a proposal. I don't make decisions in the first call. It's because you're offering multiple things. You're causing overwhelm. You're making them think about it. You're giving them a reason to think it through instead of feeling confident that I want to do this. At the end of this session, we're not going to say you can pay this amount or this amount. We're going to say this is the boot camp. This is the price. You should do this. That's it. Not do this or this because we're the experts. We know what to tell you to do to help you. That's the concept. And we're not going to dive into too much deliverables to cause overwhelm of like, what's exactly in the snapshot and exactly how many. You don't need that. You don't need that. You just need confidence. That's what you need. You need confidence. All these questions, by the way, guys, please put in the Q&A so I can answer them for you, please. Okay. So again, one offer only. If you really want to make money on webinars, on stage, and sales, you just have to showcase your expertise and tell them to buy the product. That doesn't mean you can't have additional offers. It's just what you're presenting is the one offer. Okay. That's the concept. The three core tenets in selling are the words that you say, the tone in which you say them, and then the visual component. Imagine if we didn't have a slide deck for this training. The impact would not be as strong. Imagine if I slow down every single thing that I'm saying, the impact would be different. There's certain times to be louder and quieter and faster and slower. These are the concepts of understanding how to sell effectively. Tonality is a critical piece for a lot of people that struggle with this. If you have not gotten any tonality training or don't know anything about NLP whatsoever and don't know how you communicate, listen to yourself. It's the most awkward thing you could possibly do, but you won't know it. You won't know it. You will not know it. If you listen to yourself, you start to understand how to get better. This is why auditing is so critical. Someone said, I need to be more confident in that. Confidence comes from affirmations. You have to speak into your truth that you are capable of delivering this. It's so critical. Okay. Here's the idea of like how I sell and what I want you to take away from this session. All right. It's the ACT method. ACT. Pretty easy. Okay. Authenticity, confidence, and transparency. Authenticity is the truth behind your words. Please don't lie to people. Like, I try not to lie to anyone. I'm certainly not perfect, obviously, but I try not to lie to anyone. I try to say absolute truth as best as possible consistently. Confidence, the belief that the result we're promising will happen. So when we sell at the end of the webinar, telling you to buy the bootcamp, we're doing that because we really believe that you're going to get the result as long as you do the work with us. That's the idea. And then transparency. How many times on this webinar have we explained why we're framing something, how we did something, a mistake that we made? Oh, I put this slide in the wrong spot. That's transparency. It's humanizing, authentic, like Sharon was talking about. Transparency is key in selling. The more that you are willing to share, the more fourth wall breaking you're willing to do, the more comfortable the prospect will be, instead of them thinking, what are you trying to get over me? How are you trying to screw me? Because that's how most people think, unfortunately. So it really just comes down to how to create urgency. Urgency ultimately is the decision maker. Urgency is why something's important right now, right? If you are stuck in the Sahara Desert for a week and you haven't had water, you'd probably be dead. But let's say if you weren't dead and Sharon said, I have a bottle of water, I need you to wire me $50,000, you would do it. You would have to do it because you're going to die, and the urgency is very, very high. Now, obviously, we don't want death to be our urgency lever. It's not an effective model consistently. Hey, Sharon, why should you buy the boot camp? Well, you're going to die. That's why. Yeah, that doesn't work. Don't do that, right? But here's how to get your prospects primed to buy right now. The most common decision you have to understand, right, is indecision. That's the most common decision. The most common action is inaction. Let me give you an example, all right? Does everyone know what the next sentence is? Hey, babe, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? What's the next sentence? What's the next sentence? I don't know. What do you want? It's the most common thing. Same thing with Netflix. Same thing with going out, where you want to go. It's classic because the amount of decisions that we have to make, conscious and unconscious, every day. Like, hey, are we on time to pick up our kid from school? What clothes am I wearing? What thing am I attending? What am I buying? There's so many decisions every single day that the most common decision is not deciding or letting someone decide for you. Someone said an argument. That was hilarious. It's the when then fallacy also. It's like, when I have this money, that's when I'll invest. That's how people think, but it becomes a cycle that you have to break, right? So the idea is why people struggle with decisions is there's just a habit of procrastination. So the more that you tell them, the more that you tell them, the more that you tell them, the more confident they will be in buying it. You are expressing the confidence you have that they will get the result they need so that they can buy it now versus consistently pushing it off. That's the idea. Okay. Help your prospects with decision making by leveraging logic, pushing away emotion. That's the concept. Okay. So here's the confidence, okay? You have to deliver your offer ultimately with certainty and authority. You have to show belief in it. If you do not believe in the value of the product, you can't sell it. If you can sell it without value, then you're a charlatan. None of you want to be that. I don't want to be that. Don't be that, right? I don't actually find value when people say to me, oh, Alice, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. What you're telling me is that I'm able to manipulate someone inappropriately, but I take that responsibility like Spider-Man, right? Like, with great power comes great responsibility. Remember, guys, I have a 4-year-old, so I'm allowed to be bringing up Spider-Man on this session, okay? Just remember. Look, make the pitch, right, to the prospect, ultimately, not the avatar. Speak to the human being that you're talking to and close those loops. This is the key. If they bring up stuff that's important to them, bring it back to them, tell them that you will help them with that, and then close the loop. If you don't do that and you're just selling to a roofer instead of Derek the roofer, you're going to lose out, okay? Focus on the offer. Like I said, avoiding multiple options. And then do not be shy to sell it. You have to tell them. If you don't believe in the offer, why would anyone else? Don't ask. Don't say, what do you think about this? Say, Sharon, I know this is what you've been looking for. I am so confident that the AI employee that I could provide to you is going to be the most valuable investment that you'd make at the end of this year because it's going to set you up for success moving into 2025. You're going to have the ability to maximize all your current opportunities, stay ahead of the local competition, and ensure that you're on the front end, on the front lines of AI that's going to make you more money. You need this. You need this. That's better than, what do you think, Sharon? Do you want the AI employee? Don't do that. Not passive selling. Please, for the love of God, do not do passive selling. Please. Okay. So tell to sell. Be clear and assertive with the call to action. Guide the audience to the next step. Make the pitch time sensitive. So we do this with every offer at Extendly. We always make it time sensitive. Here's the allotted amount of time. I think it's usually like 24 hours, I think, creating urgency with deadlines. And then back up those deadlines, meaning if you reach out to us 2 days later, we're not going to give you that price no matter what, right? And that's internal conversations that I see Bayant and Sharon hold strong on. For the salespeople, like, oh, can we make this exception? They're like, no, because if we do it for one person, then we have to do it for everyone, which I commend them for that. You have to do the same, right? This is ultimately the biggest key if you're not doing it, okay? And then just make the ROI a no-brainer, right? Show them that the value of this is clearly a no-brainer. Martin, that's not true. I don't appreciate that. It's a no-brainer offer, right? That's the idea. You want to make it a no-brainer. That's the whole concept, okay? That's the entire concept. That's what I want you to do. I want you to see in this process that when you make this offer to someone, that it's literally going to be the easiest thing for them to make money if they do the work that they're supposed to do. That's the idea, right? I love this line at the end. I put it in here for you just in case it would help. Like, hey, look, if I had a crystal ball to show you the future, Juan, you'd be running through a brick wall to make this happen. I know it's what you need. Like, that's the concept that I would go through. So I wanted to put together this slide as just a way for you to get insight on a few things that you can definitely implement. If you just do these 4 specific things, I feel very confident that you will become unstoppable in your selling. Number 1 is the why you on this call frame, okay? The why you on this call frame ultimately is something like this. Hey, Juan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I just want to get clarity of what you're giving me your time for, so I'm respectful of it. I'm very, very grateful you're on with me instead of doing anything else, and I want to make sure I use this time appropriately. What are you hoping for from the session? The goal is that we get the intention, desired outcome, and urgency. Something like Chad would say, oh, I saw your ad for your AI, and I've been really trying to get this set up, but I've been having a hard time with it, and I really was hoping to have this live before the end of January, and I've been having a struggle. Great. Now you have all the clarity you need to repeat that back with confidence. Hey, super confident that I can help you get the AI set up before the end of January. Very glad you jumped on with me from the ad. I'm grateful for it. I got your back. Let's dive in, right? That's the idea, okay? Secret weapon question. Secret weapon question is really valuable. A lot of people screw this up, and I want to give this to you. It's super, super, super important, all right? The idea is just asking someone exactly what they're looking for. The more clear something is, the better. The less esoteric, the better. So I'll make a joke with my son. Again, I have a 4-year-old. If he says he wants a treat, how many treats can we possibly name, right? I don't know, like hundreds, like hundreds, right? Like a cookie, ice cream, what's it called? Cake. Like there's so many different ideas of treats that we can give. So if I go get him a chocolate chip cookie and he starts crying, it's not that I didn't provide him what he wanted, it's that he did not tell me exactly what he wanted. Most people don't know exactly what they want because they're not prompted for that. So if they say to someone, hey, I want a chocolate chip cookie, and I give someone a chocolate chip cookie, that's more clear. It's the same framework with the secret weapon question. Someone said, I want a fig Newton. It's amazing. Secret weapon question, right? The secret weapon question is simple. It's, hey, Michael, just so I understand, what are you looking for in an AI employer? What are you looking for in an ideal marketing partner? What are you looking for in working with a vendor like myself? Any of those questions will lead to the same response, which ideally is anything that's not esoteric, something that will say, I'm specifically looking for this, this, and this. Now, what you get to do is sell to the person, not the avatar. Hey, you said that it's really important for you that someone's on time consistently. That's a core value of mine. I promise we'll give that to you. Doing this is a key element in selling. It will make a massive difference. Just be okay with the reality that when you ask this to a lot of people, they have no idea. They don't know what they're looking for. Because again, it's the same thing as why they don't know where to go to dinner tonight. You know what I mean? Keep that in mind, all right? Seed planting confirmation statements throughout, like, hey, is this what you're hoping for? I'm confident exactly what you need. Here's an example. Guys, is this session so far valuable, right? I know it's a lot, but this is why we're giving you the recording. If it's valuable, can you drop a 7 in the chat? Make sure it's worth your time, please. Me and Sharon and the team put a lot of effort into this. I woke up 5 a.m. this morning to do it, by the way, because I wanted to update the slides for you. So this is an
You
example, right? Now I'm priming you to be sold when I make you the offer in 10 minutes, right? This is the idea. I'm showing it to you. I'm telling it to you right here. You're saying this is valuable. I want more. That's the concept. That is the concept, okay? The last one is a really easy one. Everyone always feels like they're in the wrong time. It's like probably the hardest part of being a coach in the space is just like how many people are really struggling and how many people constantly feel like they're not doing good enough. I like to always tell people when I'm on a call with them, like, hey, you're reaching out at the perfect time. You're doing this at the exact right time. That type of affirmation is really, really powerful. So I just strongly recommend doing it. I get like emotional thinking about it because the amount of times that I've said this to people on sales conversations, the way that they light up with that simple affirmation of like, oh my God, I'm doing anything right is powerful. Like so many people are struggling. Give them that insight. Like this is perfect. You did it at the perfect time. They're always like, I missed the boat or I'm too fast. I'm too slow. That's how it always is. So giving them that insight's helpful. Okay. All right, the last piece is convert. I think this is back to you over to Sharon. Yeah, we'll go from there. Oh, no, wait, is this mine, Sharon? You want me to take these?
um
I got it.
mm, okay,
I got it.
go for it.
Okay. So last part, like we spoke about, urgency creates action, right? You have to have motivation for them to actually take action. You got to be ethical, obviously. Don't use fake urgency. Someone called us out for that yesterday, but we don't do that. It's like as authentic as we can. For clarity, I definitely have used fake urgency before, but I wouldn't do it again because when you do fake urgency and then get called out on it, yeah, it's not great. Not great. Don't do it. Don't do it. Your actions also have to be urgent too, right? You have to follow up. You got to call the leads right after the webinar. This is something Extendly's amazing at. Huge shout out to Philip. I mean, he's just an absolute savage on our team. And he's constantly following up to make sure, like, hey, you said you were interested. What are you doing? How can we help you, etc. It's really valuable. Post
By the
webinar
way,
follow
just
up.
quick
Go ahead.
note on that front there, Alex. Um, You can automate that as well, right? The actions must be urgent. So before your webinar starts, have an SMS queued up, have an email queued up. So exactly as it ends, that email goes out to people and it's already pre-written so that you don't have to worry about it. You just did this presentation. Now you have to worry about sending an SMS. Use automation to your advantage.
100% agree. 100% agree. One other thing that we do in our webinars is we take screenshots of people that like send DMs or showcase interest as like, hey, these are people we should reach out to directly. Just another quick insight. All these webinar follow-ups are part of the boot camp. Like, I mean, pretty simply, like buy it is probably the easiest thing I could tell you to do. But in general, like put deadlines, make sure it's clear. And if you screw something up on the deadline, always be upfront about it. We shared that story yesterday as an example. And like you saw me do this, so I want to share with you how you do this, the two option close, right? At the front end, you tell someone, hey, we're going to give you all the insight. You could do it yourself, or at the end, we'll make you an offer. We did that both days, and I'm reminding you of doing it yourself. Like tell them that so they don't feel shocked by it. You might think, well, obviously, of course, I'm going to have an offer. A lot of people just don't know standard marketing, guys. Like that's the truth. They don't know standard marketing, so they don't expect it. They're like shocked by it. So make sure you tell them that up front. Will make a big, big difference. Okay. So as a reminder, this is everything we're going to be covering and significantly more inside of the boot camp. So again, it's 12-day session covering all six of these elements: the AI in a box snapshot, the AI webinar system, the lead magnets, the sales tools, the client fulfillment strategies, and the 12-day boot camp. All of these elements are here to support you. We valued them at well over 17,000. It's 2,500 basically. Go to getextendly.com/AI. You'll be able to get started. We're going to give you all the follow-up systems. We're going to also give you a gift just for being on this session. So after all 3 days, you're going to receive all 5 pitch decks. I believe we sent 2 already, Sharon. Is that right?
We sent out one yesterday,
Sent out 1.
and then we'll send out the remaining on Friday.
Cool. So a couple people said they didn't receive it. It's either in your spam or message us. You'll get it. Don't worry. Promise. Okay. Next piece here is going to be the same slides as yesterday. This is kind of like the transition slide, right? Like who feels more confident about selling this? You want to get everyone to say yes, yes, and yes, right? Then we're going to say who feels like they can begin selling it now. You're going to say yes. And then you have a transparent frame, again, on the 2 option close. Like what happens if you get stuck? What happens if it takes you too long for the details? That's always the big concern. So if you're concerned about missing the boat because you're going to take too long and you want more support, we created a 12-day boot camp to shortcut help you. Mike, this is me doing the 2-option close right now. This is it, right? Option 1 is you do it yourself, or option 2, Mike, is you join us in the bootcamp, which I obviously strongly advise you do. We're going to have 12 sessions. You can see them all written here. It's basically every other day. So 6th, 8th, 10th, 13th, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you're going to ask, like, is there replays? Yes, there's replays. It's really, really important. Okay. Spring said 12 days might feel too little. It's 12 days over the month, right? So keep that in mind. It's not going to just be 12 days back to back. That's not how we're asking for. Sessions are probably going to be an hour to 90 minutes. I would probably put them all at 90 minutes just in case, especially if I'm talking, because I don't shut up, in case you didn't realize that. What will your life look like after 12 days? You'll be unstoppable. I love it. The idea, very simply, your offer's ready to launch. You have a clear strategy for generating leads. You have a webinar presentation that you can turn leads into buyers. You know exactly how to sell it. So obviously we'll talk more about the stuff we shared today. You'll actually know how to configure it to deliver for your clients, and you'll be positioned to actually win. That's the entire concept. So here's everything you get again. All of the frameworks that you need for this is provided. You just have to do the work. It's critical. If you don't do the work, it won't happen. Remember, this is not a set and forget model. This is not, I come in, I get all the assets, I'm ready to go, I don't have to do anything. There's still work to do with your niche, with coming to the sessions, making sure your offer is framed correctly, making sure your questions are answered, making sure that you put together the right follow-ups with your specific niche and custom values. There's still work to do. So you have to follow through on the work. Please do not make this investment with the expectation that you're going to magically, right? Magically get the result without doing anything. There's work to be done. Please. Okay. You can get started, getextendly.com/AI. Someone said, like, how long would it take to make $10,000 in recurring revenue? So I want to give a quick framework on this. So, Alina, if you are selling the product at $5,000 upfront for the AI, and you included, let's say, a 3-month subscription to your SaaS for that, 2 clients, you'd make $10,000. It wouldn't be recurring though, right? Recurring revenue would be the $500 a month thereafter. So you have to break it down in that format, which, if I did my math there correctly, is that 20 clients? Sorry if I didn't do my math correctly. But anyways, point being, that's the idea and concept behind it.
No, that's it. We're going to be here, same time, same link tomorrow. Tomorrow's all about fulfillment. So now that you guys know how to sell, how do you set it up? How do you deliver upon what you sold? So make sure that you guys come tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to really give you that confidence as well to sell, because once you know how to set up the bots, you know how to prompt them well, selling becomes easy, right? So definitely come tomorrow. We'll send you guys reminders. And thank you so, so much for your time today. You guys have been here with us for 2 hours. We hope this has been extremely helpful. And yeah, we'll keep bringing you guys more knowledge and value just like this.
See you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, guys, take care.